It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here today on the big program. Lots to get to, lots to talk about. Hey, Democrats, have you found that picket line yet? Have you found those working people out there fighting for a better tomorrow? Have you found them yet? Have you gotten out there, put those comfortable shoes on, started marching back and forth, talking about the realities of what working people go through each and every day in this country? Have you done that yet? Because that's the way forward. All of the other stuff aside, that's the way forward. Get that education, get that street cred, get back onto the pavement. That's simple. Seriously, you got to get out of Washington, get back into your districts, find those picket lines, and take the beating that you deserve. Take the verbal lashings that you're going to get and learn from them. Get something done. Yet instead, what we got Joe Manchin riding around in his freaking Maserati. I did not know that Joe from West Virginia driving around in a freaking Maserati. Mind-blowing to me. Literally mind-blowing. And this is one of those things where how many people in West Virginia got Maseratis? You think any of those people their kids have to go to McDonald's to do their homework because that's the best Wi-Fi they can get? Do you think they got a Maserati in the driveway? I would say not. And this is one of those moments where we've got to start framing things a whole lot better. And understand, Joe Manchin today talking about the U.S. Senate. And this is rich. He says, you know what's wrong with this place? I go to a hostile work environment every day. Aw, poor Joe. He's not doing his job, and people are calling him on it. Aw, poor Joe. The majority of people in this country want what's in that Build Back Better plan. They want to negotiate for prescription drugs. They want paid family leave. They want early childhood education. They want something done with college costs. They want Granny to get some new chompers and glasses and hearing aids. They want what's in this piece of legislation that he single-handedly really is holding up. And doing it in this division of the right and the left. He says, no, we're not a center left country. We're more center right. No. We're a center left country because when you get to actually talk to people about what they want a government that's going to get things done. Not what we're constantly seeing, this kind of pitting against one another. Look, the right does this masterfully. They do it better than anybody. They do divide and conquer well. They do Jay Gould's, I could pay half the working class to murder the other half well. We saw this on Tuesday. But Democrats got to be better than this. If you've got to push an agenda. You've got an agenda. This is the part that's incredible to me. You've got a good agenda. You just got to move it so that you can go back to the voters and go, this is how we're making your lives better. This is how we're making conditions better. You want to talk about a hostile environment? Look at families who are struggling to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. Look at you look at the strikes that are going on right now. Understand what the strikes right now are about. It's not about his money as much as it is, I would like to see my family. I don't want to work 6-7 days a week, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. This is about dignity and respect. You want to talk hostile? Look at the worlds that these folks are coming from. Get out in the streets and talk to them. And now understand, the people who are on the picket line are a small minority of the workforce. Understand that people who don't have representation have it even worse. And then do something about it. But this division, this ripping each other to shreds, this tearing into each other is not good. And I look at Representative Cori Bush. who said Manchin's opposition to the Build Back Better Act is anti-black, anti-child, anti-woman, and anti-immigrant. She says, when we talk about transformational change, we are talking about a bill that will benefit black, brown, indigenous communities. That ain't helpful, because that's exactly what Manchin's constituents in West Virginia hear and give him a pass. You have to make it that it's going to make all of our lives better. You cannot continue the division that the right has heaped upon us and have done so masterfully. Leave it to the masters. Do the right thing. Make conditions better for everybody. Because we all do better when we all do better. That is truth. Stick with that. This frame plays into digging Manchin in deeper. This is not helpful. Now, it may raise some money. It may get some people to go, oh, she's right. And look, maybe some of that is the case. But it's not helpful rhetoric, because what it does is it gives Manchin the pass. It gives them the ability to go, well, it's only going to help them anyway. Why should we do it? It's the wrong frame. It's the wrong direction. Because what's in that Build Back Better Act? Truthfully, people want. For instance, and good on Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats for putting back in the paid family leave part, the paid family and medical leave back into the bill. Sent Manchin into an apoplectic, outrage. He said that this is a piece of legislation that really is needed from a standpoint. If we do it right. We can do that in a bipartisan way so we can make sure it's lasting. No, we can't do this in a bipartisan way, Joe. They're never coming along. What part of this don't you get? What part of it is it's never happening unless you make it happen and you give people what they want. And then when they get a hold of it, you don't get to take it away. And then Republicans will come along because they don't have a choice. But in this moment, if nothing gets done, as I predicted months ago that nothing would, 2022 is going to be a bloodbath. And then we don't get a bite at this stuff for another decade, if that. But he believes that paid leave should be done through regular order. And I go, what is regular order? Nothing can be passed at this moment. The budget reconciliation bill is something that needs to get done. Republicans used it when they had their agenda, and understand what their agenda was. The only thing they wanted, tax cuts for the rich. That's all they wanted. And they got it. Understand, all those supposed tax cuts for the working class, those are evaporating. But those for the wealthy, those are permanent. We got a little something. And it's gone. And here's the thing that's infuriating. And you talk to Republican voters. They don't think the Republicans have an agenda. There is no agenda. There is nothing there. Nothing. But what it has gotten us, it's gotten us into this situation that we find ourselves in. This kind of division. And look, I like Cori Bush, but I think this frame is not helpful. Division is not helpful. I'm not ignoring the plight and the realities of black, brown, and indigenous communities. I'm not doing that. So don't come back and say, oh, you don't like them. Nothing to do with that. But when framed like this, it gives cover. Like I said, it gives cover to Manchin, cinema. It gives them the cover to, and it stops poor whites from demanding better for themselves, for other poverty-stricken communities. And until we change that, we're getting nothing done, man. And then this gives the Republicans the ability to do more of that race baiting, more of the divisions. So Democrats, leave it to the experts on that side. Be the party of the working class. All of the working class. Be the party of making jobs better, of making family life balance better, of making lives better, rebuilding that prosperous working class. Be that party again. And I know there's this move right now, and this is what's really frustrating. There's this kind of move of being, corporate light, we need corporate, because the Republicans, if you've noticed, The Republicans are kind of shying away from some corporations because they're trying to position themselves as the party of the working class, even though the situation you now find yourself has everything to do with deregulation and all of the policies pushed by from Reagan from Nixon Ford forward. All of that neoliberal, ultra-conservative kind of, on both sides, that kind of pro-business mentality. We gotta cater to the benevolent corporation. Nonsense. We need to cater to working people. We need to give them an equal footing on the floor. And it starts with doing the right things. Getting things that we need. You know what's really frustrating? On Tuesday, I saw this story from Dealey Plaza in Dallas, and I've been there, where JFK was shot. And there were a couple hundred people showed up because they believed that JFK Jr. was going to come back from the dead to unite with Donald Trump and somehow be reinstated into the White House. There are people who believe this stuff, bought flags, had flags made, proudly waving them. And I'm going, the Build Back Better plan does fall a little short on mental health. Mental health needs to be on the table when you've got hundreds of people who are going to show up. Never mind the fact that JFK Jr. has been dead for 20 years. Well, 22, I guess, now? Never mind that. Never mind the fact that he was a liberal Democrat. Never mind that. The fact that you really believe that he was going to come back and go to Dealey Plaza where JFK was assassinated is just mind-numbingly insane. And then to think Trump was going to be there and they were going to go to the Rolling Stones concert and I don't know, was Elvis going to be the opening act? I don't know. But this is the kind of weird, crazy world that clearly the adults have lost control of the message. And I come back to, you got to get things done. The more things don't get done, the more this fringe stuff kind of takes over. The more conspiracy theory comes to the forefront. The more we can hate each other. I'm a firm believer of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Everybody pursuing their dreams on equal footing. That is not radical. That's the foundation of this country. Now, what is radical is making that reality. And this is where we can have our discussions, and this is where we can have our fights. But at the end of the day, it's about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. That's simple. And until we can identify that in each other, we're going to continue with nonsense. And we're going to continue this polarization to where there are people in this country who believe and want violence in our streets because their lives didn't turn out the way that they were told it was going to. The anger is real out there. The question is, what are Democrats going to do about it? Are they going to lay the groundwork for a better future? Or, well, we tried. Passed it in the House. Worked there. And the reality is voters don't care. Voters want results. Now, 2022 is around the corner. So my prescription for the new year, get out in the streets. Stand with these workers who, through Striketober and now Strikesgiving, are fighting for better wages, hours, conditions, dignity, respect. Those frames that aren't hard to understand. But we're the core, the ground, the bedrock of what Democrats used to believe in. Stop with the third way corporate light stuff. And no, Tuesday was not a referendum on the Democrats went too far left. No, it wasn't that at all. I would argue you didn't go far enough. I would argue that the mansions and the cinemas, who are the sticks in the middle, they're the ones who caused this problem. Because we are not getting this stuff done for the American people. America, we got a problem. And that problem is we can't get things done. And look, I've been railing on Manchin and cinema this whole time. And rightfully so. But there are 50 Republican senators who will not vote for this stuff. Now, Manchin seems to believe it. In fact, Manchin sold us on the idea that he could negotiate a voting rights bill that would get more than 10 Republican senators. Well, he did that. He watered down the For the People Act. And what did he get? He didn't get 10 votes. Because this vision of what he thinks is possible, I'm sorry, is just not there. I wish it were. I wish there were Republicans of conscience who care about working people. I do. I hear the rhetoric. I hear the Marco Rubios and the Ted Cruzes. I hear the rhetoric. I don't see the actions. And this is where, Democrats, you better figure out where your ground in this is. Because if the Republican Party ever decides, you know what, we're going to be for workers and workers' rights, that's a problem for you. Now, do I ever see that happening? No, I don't see that happening. Because they're the party of big business and the wealthy. They've proven that. That's their track record. But if the parties are truly realigning, if there are things going on, it's going to be interesting to see how the workers' rights stuff comes out. Because at the end of the day, for me, I don't care which party you are. I don't care where you are politically. If you're going to walk a picket line and help someone get better wages, hours, conditions, respect, dignity on the job, a fair shake, I'm going to support you. Because it's about the issue for me. And at some point, maybe we get back to that. I'm not sure if that's possible. But at some point in this polarized world, maybe we can find that. And maybe there are things we can agree on. Like it's quite insane that there were hundreds of people in Dealey Plaza waving Trump JFK Jr. flags. And that maybe mental health is something we should be looking into for some of us. Maybe just a thought. So the question I have going forward is what is the answer for Democrats? How do they get things done? And is this going to be a wake-up call, or are we going to continue to see more of this sniping at each other and the name calling that's not helpful? Because what's able to happen is Republicans are able to sit back and go, they're doing our job for them, doing their job for us. And Democrats are continually shooting themselves in the foot. And look, this will play right into the next year, because if you don't get something done in the next 60 days, I think it's over. Well, interesting to see. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. I'm going to take a quick break right back after this. Stick around. You're listening to The Rick Smith Show. We're working people. Come to talk.
Nothing more American than workers standing up, and the union gives a voice to win. On The Rick Smith Show.